Okay, so I'm up against JoannaTries for some warm-up games, but I'm going to take them very seriously because I might have a match coming. I notice this is a sensitive square, so I might only push this 1 and this 2, and that allows my queen also to get to the king side. I like that idea, and I'm going to play it. Some would say it's blocking in this bishop, but okay, so my plan is to do this, this, and not sure yet about my bishop. Roughly speaking, maybe like this, this, would that make sense? Yeah, that feels right. And this, and so I have to be aware here that if she takes a pawn, that pawn is landing on a3. But there's no reason why I should let her take a pawn. I could push this and push this, and that will open up this diagonal as well. So that way not necessarily giving her what she would want. So it's like trading pieces, but when I want to trade them, which is not quite yet. Now I have to be aware of this file and this diagonal, and suddenly my bishop is not quite so special, but it's planning on coming here. Okay, so pawn here might be a plan. It's kind of hang on a second. Queen takes queen is a plan. So very simple going for a queen trade. Not sure I like that. So I'm going to turn down the queen trade. That's a nice move there from JoannaTries, because I was hoping of dropping a pawn here, and that's just simply said, no, you're not dropping a pawn there. So that's well done. Now I'd want to get my king to safety, but where is safety? What this does do though is it creates an opening here. But am I ready for a fight? You see, if I drop a pawn here, takes, just returns the pawn. I feel like I'm not quite ready for a fight in that sense. But one move I do have is knight here and pawn here, but then the knight's defending, so that doesn't quite work either. I feel like I need to defend. And pawn here is always a little bit annoying. But if I have a pawn here, I could chase away that piece. So I'm going to go pawn here. Pawn here, knight here, and then this. Now this move I think is always a mistake, because I can trade, and then replace the bishop somewhere along this diagonal. Not here, because pawn here is annoying, but even just bishop straight back here seems good, and the rook probably backs off or something like this, but then this chases away the knight. Just going to quickly check. No response yet from G. Rogers. Okay, so I don't want to take that bishop because then once there's a queen there, then the control will be here. I need. I could go pawn here though. Takes. That feels like it does the job. And I'm always a little bit concerned about this knight. But I'm going to do this first. This just feels like it gives away. Now I have a choice. Do I take the knight or take the bishop? And I think I take the knight. And she'll try and control this e3 square. So it's really, really, really important to get that e3 square under control. There's also this, just a pin picking up my queen, which is annoying. Yeah, getting the e3 square under control is the priority. And you know what, I'm happy to do it like this. And I could go queen takes, but then, so where's my queen going to be harassed more? So queen takes might actually be safer. No, because then there's knight here check. Wow. Okay, so reality hits. So the reason I was a little bit concerned about pawn takes is knight here check, and I want to do this. So that was a slight concern. This one, actually, the queen is secretly defending this pawn, so I'm just going to snuggle over. And I was a little bit concerned of this, but that's actually good. So now my queen at least is defended, h2 is defended. Notice Joanna could also at some point castle, but it's going to take at least 3 moves. Okay, just sacking the bishop for free. Interesting. So I have to assess whether the problem with this move is then h2 is no longer defended. That's why I don't like it. Otherwise, knight takes would be really tempting, but then h2 is weak and there'd be a queen trade at h2, knight here. So for that reason, I'm going to take the pawn. And this does create a weakness on e3, but I think the weakness on e3 is less of an issue. So I'm like controlling the center. Black is actually still very safe. And this is a very good move here. Pawn here, getting in on f2, and the only slight relief I have is that h2 is covered, and yeah. So there's a lack of pieces to finish this off. So I think I finally got to the stage when I can counterattack. I have to watch out for queen takes knight, rook takes, pawn here check, sidestep, these sorts of ideas, but I think that would be giving away too much. And after all, the queen is always giving coverage of my king secretly as well. If queen takes knight, pawn takes, for example. Okay, I think I can just sidestep. I could have taken twice, but I want to go for the king now. So my idea is bishop takes rook and rook g8 once the queen moves. And if the queen doesn't move, I get a queen, and the game should be over fairly soon. There are always dangerous ideas of knight drop here, these sorts of knight at, takes, these sorts of ideas. But they're all covered. Black has really played this very well. So black is going to be down material, but in terms of it's only down one piece and has got an attack for that. Okay, so the time has come for my counter, as I said. I'm going to take up that queen first and just go in now. Probably neatest would be to do this. Ooh, I didn't notice that the bishop's actually covering this square. But I have to do this and just drive the king rather, up the board. I don't really want the king to go back, so I'm going to put this behind the king. So it drives it this way. This is always a very nice move because two diagonal pieces 3 away like this control the square of squares. And now this is checkmate. So tough game actually. Okay, same position again. Now it's very important to take out the knight like this. You always know you want to do that. Castling kingside did feel right that game. One square felt right, like this, and this, just to give an opportunity for the queen to get out. So all of that feels right, and I just got to remember what was the tender square again in this position. I guess dark squares can be tender in this position. And also if there's a pawn trade, pawn here very quickly. Yeah, so this is the tender square in this position that you kind of have to be wary of. Like I don't want to trade pawns too quickly before I've figured out sorry, not that one. This one, this one, this one, and this one. So at some point I'm going to be trading, but I want to do it at a time when this square is defended. Which is quite tough, actually. Because unless at some point I go like this, I know I shouldn't be taking so long, but I'm going to go do this just because it's never a bad idea to develop the knight in the corner. But I'm still, it's like, how do I do this? I think what I'm supposed to do is maybe take it easy when I'm more developed. I'm still trying to figure out whether I mind the pawn trade when I'm more developed or less developed. Actually, come to think of it, takes, queen takes, I can always drop a pawn here. So maybe I should just go for this. Maybe I should just go for this. And also just, what diagonals am I trying to block? This diagonal here and this diagonal here. I think that's fine, it's all under control. Still struggling though. This and this. I don't want this to come, so I'm going to play this. I feel it's premature. I feel it was premature because I don't have a good swing for the rook. If just takes and attacks the rook again, so I'm really struggling seeing how I should play this. And I don't like opening up my king so much. So I'll do this, but I'm really actually struggling seeing what's the correct way of playing this. Well, I can see what she's thinking in terms of she's worried about this pawn drop, which is fair enough. Okay, I'm just going to do this. I hope it's correct. Just trying to control the center. And I do realize I might get attacked at some point with the pawn drop here. Okay, so this I think I can take here. Destabilize. Bishop here is now interesting. There's always knight here though. But still it's interesting. The only thing is now he has a bishop. I don't know if I want to give up a bishop. Bishop takes, knight takes, this square suddenly becomes tender. So bishop there is interesting, but simply knight here, and what am I doing? Oh, there's takes, and rook here. It's kind of annoying. So I think that's worth going for. Now, I'm wondering about bishop takes rook, bishop takes queen, rook here, king takes pawn, rook takes pawn. That just feels strong. It feels like it's strong. Now I could go rook takes rook or rook takes pawn. I think I'm going to go rook takes pawn check. And she has to block. Yeah, I thought she would block with the pawn, but that seems reasonable as well. Now, I don't want to really sack the rook because the rook is actually a good defender as well. So I'm just going to go rook takes rook check. And actually, any check here, I just take with the rook, so that's fine. That's not an issue. It's very tempting to take the knight, but is this a threat? Or rook here, king here, pawn here is also a threat, potentially. And I'm feeling uneasy about this. Very, very, very uneasy. And I also just don't know how to do. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece, because that seems to keep me safe. Right, yeah. Now, again, it's my turn to calculate whether I have some mating ideas with, say, rook takes knight, knight here, and can't come back because rook here would be mate. So, okay, but rook takes knight, rook here is checkmate, so that's out the window. So is there anything else? Sort of feeling slightly uncomfortable here, but is there any, there's no check picking up this pawn, nope. So probably that would feel like the right thing to do, but again it's slow, it's allowing a rook on the back rank to torment me. It doesn't feel correct. I feel like I should act with more conviction here. So I'm wondering about rook here, but then I have no knight. Oh, I can always get a knight, it takes. So what I'm wondering about here is, suppose I did take the queen. I don't see a follow-up. After king's on d1, there is a follow-up. Okay, so this I feel is actually a dangerous threat, because the king on d1 I can take here, and then these squares become weak, and I have a knight in hand. And that would be enough to cause trouble. And now this way, I feel I can just take it. And um, yeah, I don't see. So rook drop, I can just take it. Pawn drop, I can take it, and there's no knight check. There's no pawn anyway. So this seems like an annoying move. But the king can probably slide to this square, and then I'm not sure where my continuation is. I'm not sure at all. Just going to quickly check. Yeah. No reply yet. Okay, so in terms of material, I don't mind. I must have given up a queen at some point. Yeah, so this. Okay, so I'll take that. He obviously wants to do this, but now I've got this check, and he has to block again. Just giving away the queen feels heavy. Yeah. Okay, so now in this position, okay, so let's see. I can push here, or I can push here, or I can push here, push here. What do I do? I feel like I need to do this at some point. I need to do this at some point. Okay, I'm going to do this fast because I need to get this on this diagonal before the bishop is on my queen diagonal. So I need to get this bishop through the center, and then maybe even get castled. So that on that side of the board is looking great. So this is actually a sensitive pawn. Notice if a knight landed here, that's already mate. So I have to be a little bit careful. And it's also not obvious how to defend this square. Of course, the easiest way of defending it is by pushing it, but then there are queen sacks on knights, and that will be a smother. So if I can tempt that knight out and tempt him to push that pawn, that would be quite fun. So tempt her rather. That would be quite fun. So this is an idea, but then after this, I need a good defense of this pawn. So queen takes knight. Yeah, there's nothing here. There's also just bishop here, and if knight takes pawn, I slide across. So, but unfortunately, she wins a bishop. That's not to my liking. This makes a lot of sense. This makes a lot of sense, but I think I like this even more. And if this or this, I need a defense of this square. But there's always this, I guess. Worst come to worst. So I'll do that. And just to double check this line. Okay, so developing the queen that way, interesting. Which is very interesting. And maybe even pushing again. And I'm tempted to maybe do this and this. but then this will create a weakness on g3. But if I push this, I'll create a weakness on g4. So I have a dilemma. I think it's more important to go for the center. So I'm just going to do this. But I've ignored this square. Okay. And if I do this, takes, and doesn't really. Was I thinking of smothering her? Of course I was thinking of smothering. Okay, I'm going to do this with this idea, I think. But yeah, I'm just going to get my king out of the way. I need to figure out what. Yeah, okay. I think I just want to develop. I mean, I could do this, or this, and then develop. But I prefer doing this. Okay. Don't really have weaknesses, so that's fine. What I'm going to do is actually just push this one. So if takes, okay, there's a weakness here which is annoying, but I'm going to argue that that's also a problem. So it's how to exploit it. Yeah, I need to pay attention to my own weaknesses. I obviously don't want to take here because that would just open up the rook file. That's just out of the question. But there are ideas like bishop takes knight, knight here, check, which are worth thinking about. Okay, I lose this, but they're just very much worth thinking about. They're all actually there's a much more powerful move which I completely missed, which is bishop here. No, maybe it's not more powerful. I don't see the follow-up. Okay, I'm going to do this. I just hope I'm doing it correctly. I think I might be being foolish here because pawn takes pawn, pawn here, king here. I mean, this is really sketchy. If my king, I mean, pawn takes pawn, pawn here, king here, knight here, king takes pawn. I mean, it's really sketchy. What should I do? Yeah, I mean, this is obviously this is something wrong with that move, but it's not clear what is the right approach. If I drop a pawn here, takes, we're going to get a repetition, so that's just a draw. I need something more concrete. Okay, so this one check is good because there's a pin. And then this one here afterwards. Okay, well, I'm just going to take free material whenever I see it. And if you're going to let me, is that really wise? Okay. Bishop here, knight here. Look, I'm just going to do the same thing again, if you're going to let me. And yeah. Okay, I want rook here, king takes, knight here, and only a few squares left. And only a knight in hand. Rook here, king takes, bishop, knight here, but just king here, and what's the follow-up? Oh, then there's knight here. Okay, so those two squares are out of the question. Oh, well that looks quite good then, if those two squares are out of the question. I just need a pawn to mate. But I don't have a pawn, that's the only trouble. I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe I have to do this way. Okay, so knight in hand. What do I do with my knight in hand? I don't see anything. Just this, I guess. So the threat now is something like bishop here. Yeah, so go straight for the counterattack, that's reasonable. But where's the follow-up? There should be something here. So pawn here, I don't know. Pawn here, I don't see a nice follow-up, and I've got no time. Bishop here, king here. That should do it. So it's driving the king back. I can't see a knight check. If the king goes here, oh, pawn will be enough, and the king's coming up, then rook should be enough. So my plan here is pawn here and knight here. Yeah, so I want to check this game because I think it was a very interesting game. So I'm curious what the engine likes for various. So g3, g4, okay. Knight d3, e6, develop, seems fine. Develop, bishop here, castle seems fine. Attacking, takes back, h4, very strong. Yeah, this is maybe a mistake. Just allow it. Queen takes queen, maybe even. So just develop. Okay, so once I do this, it's suddenly not so nice, and And yeah, this is a critical situation. Maybe even h takes g3 here, but knight f6 check. It gets very sharp, and I'm not sure it's any good. But once this hole is created on f7, it becomes quite weak for me. Knight h5 apparently was nice. So knight h5, king f8, and then rook g8 picking up the queen. Okay, I missed this. Okay, so here king takes f7, rook f takes f6, here bishop g6, and now I have a forced mate, which is nice. Okay, and slightly more resilient if you take the rook. Okay, I just needed to check that. Okay, that's good. Okay, so yeah, so last game I went g3, bishop here, which was interesting. Now I'm not able to. It's actually kind of uncomfortable. What was the weak square again in this position? It's this one. So this seems natural if I can get it in. So I'm going to do this, but with sneaky ideas of doing this as well. Now, unfortunately, there are some defenses, namely this. So I'm going to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. Yep, this seems fine. If I do this, the problem is bishop takes knight. I don't really achieve anything. And if I do this, just simply knight here, I don't see what I'm achieving. Which is annoying because I want to do something fun and it doesn't work. So maybe I do this. Yeah, I've always got to be careful of this. What? Okay. Well, that was a case of play fast and pretend it wasn't a mistake, I guess. So bishop takes rook is the plan, but I can always just go bishop here and here. This check is covered. That will cover that check. Yeah, that's all fine. So I could do that, or I can back off my bishop in some way. So just to clarify, I've got a queen, knight, various things. Not many pawns, and pawns are what's dangerous here. Like, actually, I'm actually starting to think, that's actually quite an interesting queen sack, because pawn here will become interesting if she ever gets a chance to play it. So what I want to do is, if she does take here, here, pawn here, check here, I'm going to look at the knight checks. I can tolerate that knight check. I just want to tolerate too many knight checks. So how about this one here, and claim not too many knight checks. Okay. So basically the only knight check is going to be pawn here and knight here or something. So it's played in a different order. I've moved my king. It's also an annoying thing, so I can't castle ever. Okay, I'm trying to look out. Do I have any forks? I need to just defend. So I'm going to do this. I'll be happy to see the back of the knight. It's the sort of thing where what she would like to do is deflect the defender, but there's no really obvious way of doing that. And of course I'd really like to castle, but I can't. I had an attack on a knight, that would be nice. I don't. This knight's also doing an interesting job guarding e2. So all the while, that's a tender square. If that's ever pushed, then I want to hunt for a knight. So my ideas at this point are stuff like rook here, queen here, just bring all my pieces to the center, and then hunt for that knight. So we see already ideas of takes, 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 and something. Okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to back off. So he's giving me a knight. She's giving me a knight here. Or I could takes, takes, takes. So there's a choice, knight or a pawn. Which one do you want? I don't. I'm just going to take the knight. I don't see the problem. Which is probably a problem if I don't see the problem. But I think my bishops are defending me. Hang on a second. Did I just miss something? Did I just miss knight here check? Okay, this is really interesting because I could go here and here, or I could go here and here and try and claim asylum on the king side. Got a little bit of a decision what to do. So here, rook here, here. Feels hairy, to be honest. And yeah, I'm really upset because the previous move I had an interesting idea. I had knight here, check, king here, knight takes pawn. I don't think it was anything, so it was actually quite good I didn't do it. Oh, but was there something? Was there another idea? Or maybe there was something. Because I have all these pieces in hand, pawn, bishop. Maybe it was something. Knight takes pawn, king here, pawn here, king takes knight. I just don't see it. Okay, I'm going to go here. Yeah, I can run back if possible. So the queen will give me cover. So I'm not mated, but yeah, if I'd stepped back down to d8, it was checkmate. So it's quite scary. This way again wasn't quite mate because the bishops were covering. But there's this, and the knight's somehow defending those things. Now it's a case of trying to calculate the mate here. Knight here. Bishop here. And then queen g1, I think. No, she doesn't want a free move. Okay, so I'll do this. And if the rook goes here, queen g1 is mate, so she must put something new down. And now, let's be sure of this. And this. Smothered mate. Heh. So I got the smother in the end. Huh, this is the same position. Um, let's see if I can get a different one. Or should we just start in lobby? Okay, so let's. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So we've got a fresh position, and we first observed that's a sensitive square, and if the queen ever moves, this might be a sensitive square. Otherwise, the king is actually looking pretty safe. Oh, this is also a sensitive square. So is there any piece eyeing those two squares? It's not really an issue. The knights will come out and defend them naturally. So I think we want to push this pawn. It makes sense to develop this bishop. So this bishop is developing this way. So then it makes sense to develop this pawn to here maybe. But then that will block in the queen. So maybe this move and this move. Hard to say. Okay, I'm going to go with that first move though. I'm wondering if I should have gone this and this just to strengthen up this diagonal. Yeah, I like this, just developing the knight in the corner. There is just simply knight here. It's kind of annoying. I don't know if one should do such things. It almost seems immature. Okay, I'm going to take this one. So why not go knight here, queen here, pawn here, queen takes pawn. Don't really know what I'm doing, that's my problem here. So I'm going to do this move just to try and get a bit more air. Okay, so I'm still pondering this move, but simply queen here maybe. It's such a weird situation. And bishop here maybe, pawn here, or bishop or knight. Okay. Yeah, the knight's defending this, so this seems fine. Yeah, this is interesting. I think it seems worthwhile to do this. Let's defend it twice. Just pushing that piece back. Yeah, I don't know if that works. I mean, it obviously does work. He gets the pawn for the pawn, so it obviously does work. Okay, let's try again. Okay, I'm developing my queen, that's good, I'm happy about this. If takes here, I take here and I develop my rook, I'm happy about that. Gosh, this is just never ending. So I want this, but this. Okay, this is seriously annoying. I can't see anything concrete, but it's really annoying. Hang on, was there something there? Oops, I pressed the wrong button. So keep on pressing the wrong button. Just one move. Knight here, check, takes. Yeah, the bishop still protects this square. Yeah, so there's nothing there. Queen takes. Okay, so I'll just do queen here with a mate threat and a threat on the rook. That seems annoying. And my king can't castle and I lose a rook myself. Ouch! And that comes with a mate threat. So that's a very nice play. That's really nice play. That's really, really nice play, my goodness. So I thought I was picking up material, no such luck. I have to defend. This is very uncomfortable. So moves like... So bishop takes pawn, queen takes pawn. Bishop takes pawn, queen takes pawn is seriously interesting. But this bishop takes pawn, queen... Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, so just ignore that. Knight here, bishop takes, queen would be mating, I think. So I'm going to go rook here. I feel like that's a good defensive resource. But of course, my goodness, it doesn't work because bishop here. But I can take the bishop and then get my queen back into action. But yeah, this is tough. So my plan here was just simply knight here, which would be mate, so you have to take it, and then take the queen, and then go knight here. And all the while claiming my own king is safe, because after any bishop I take it. Okay, so I have to take. Takes. So I'm still safe for now, but I'm very much struggling. So now my queen comes under attack. And I think I just have to go for it. I think I just have to go for my own attack here with moves like bishop takes pawn, queen takes pawn here. So the point is rook takes, pawn takes queen would be mate. So that would be too powerful in a way. But there is a brilliant move that I think she missed, which is simply bishop takes, pawn takes, pawn here, takes back. But then I'd have another bishop here, and I think my attack is faster by then. So I think I get this one. I think I get this one in the end. But it's been a very tough game. So bishop and a rook. So I've got bishop here. Bishop here. I think that's enough, right? So it's kind of annoying because bishop here, I just take it. So it's kind of forcing a blocker, and she doesn't have that many blockers. So it's forcing a blocker like bishop takes rook, then bishop here, then queen takes bishop. So I'm just winning a free rook, I think, with this maneuver. But my goodness, it's doing my head in. Okay, or this, which is just saying, I don't think you can mate me. And I think I can. mate here. I think I'm capable of mate here. So with the pawn and knight and the queen and so on, I think I can get this mate. So queen here check, pawn here check. Sorry. Maybe go with the pawn first, because queen here check and knight here would be mate. So that's the more obvious approach. But now I need something with the two knights. So let's see. So obviously this just gets mated. This just gets mated. Yeah. So obviously dodge the cookie crumb. There's no question about that. Oh no. Yeah, takes was bad. But if you take this way, that's interesting actually, because then I think, yeah, then I think I have there pawn here check takes. Yeah, if she'd gone king a2, I was thinking pawn here. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not actually sure. Okay. Okay. So let me just check 2 seconds. If yeah, if I just turn engine on here. Oh, okay. Obviously this is a problem. King h2. Wow, king h2 and white is winning. This is on move 25. Yeah, that's really interesting. So, was there something I missed? What was it I missed? Bishop at d4 feels right. Takes. So pawn at h2. Pawn at h2 is so sneaky. Pawn at h2 is so sneaky. Because then you can't take the queen, because this queen pawn take all the blockers. That is such a sneaky move. Rook takes g5, pawn at f2. I can't believe it. That is really sneaky. I'm going to post the fan in the Discord because that's quite fascinating. And you have to take out the square brackets to post it as a fan. Oh, and it still is not recognized, which is kind of sad. Oh well, such is life. But maybe I'll try and post it on Lichess. And see what it says. But okay, interesting games. Let's see. We still don't have a match on with G Rogers. He's not seeing my messages, which is sad. Okay, variant Crazyhouse. Yeah, so why is it not working? Copy. Let's try again. Okay. So I'll just, yeah, so king h2, I have to go pawn e7 and so on. So what have I done wrong earlier in the game? Maybe we should analyze the full game. It's definitely a lot I can learn from these games because I'm still making clearly a lot of mistakes. Okay, I need to, I just realized I might need to go for a bit. Okay, import PGN. Okay, E45. And let's just see, that seems to be working. I'm not sure, yeah, it's not really working in terms of Crazyhouse here. There we go. Import PGN. Okay, now we've got some pieces in hand, which we can just about see. So this is not so strong. Maybe give us 3 variations. Be a bit better. Just give us a feel. So E4 is fine, nothing wrong with E4 really, but maybe E3 slightly stronger. So sometimes taking seems to be better. Takes, and you can do something with the piece. But at E6, I mean that's very solid looking, isn't it? Bishop takes C3, knight takes C3. He just wants at E6. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so chasing away the piece in your half of the board really makes a lot of sense. So yeah, at E6 is an important idea. I should flip the board from my perspective. Okay, so takes. Knight here, queen back. Well, queen back was maybe queen d8 maybe gives me more room. Knight d5 was annoying apparently here. This just gave me what I wanted, but still I struggled. Yeah, I thought this was good, and it's just not really that great. At g3, of course, exploit the pins. Okay, so takes. Again, surely I'm winning this. Rook takes g5, h takes g5. Oh, just at g3, exploit the pins. Really important. Just think about pins. Okay, so I should be doing well here, but I go for this line and it's really super sharp, and it's not actually that great. So that's really interesting. Okay, I was lucky that JoannaTries went the other way. Otherwise, if king h2 in that final position, it turns out I don't have any mate. I was thinking about, yeah, this rook takes, the square is covered by the rook and by the bishop. The knight check is covered. Queen h4. This is an idea, but the problem is bishop at d6 blocks, even bishop at h4. So knight takes e7 is obvious, but bishop at h4, ouch. What do you do? At g3, queen takes g3, takes, king takes is even possible. Why would you want to take this way? Because that piece is under threat, I guess. And now this is attacked twice, and what do you do to defend it? You defend it once. He just attacks it another time. What do you do now? F6. Knight d6 is kind of funny, because how on earth do you defend that back rank apart from queen here, but that just gets taken, so you have to take it. But now this bishop comes back with check, and this is getting mated. So this is the way to do it. And you have 2 pawns, a knight, and a rook, and I'll just play out the mate. Just driving the king up the board. So nothing easy about it, but he'll get mated in the end. Okay, really good games with JoannaTries. Yeah, she gave me a tough time, and we're both learning. Thanks for the games.